In the wake of the tragedy at Sandy Hook Elementary School, district superintendents around the country were forced to confront issues regarding school security. Such was the case for Mexico Superintendent Dr. Robert Pritchard, who, upon hearing the tragic news from Connecticut, contacted parents via the school's messaging system.
Knowing that you have a child in school and something of this nature, this horrific nature has occurred, you want to have some reassurance that they're safe. I felt that it was important for me to be the person from whom they heard it first.
For Pritchard, the enormity of what happened last Friday was personal, considering he oversees the well-being of more than 2,500 students, along with the scores of staff working firsthand with them.
Unfortunately, I've had this experience more times than I care to think about. I've lived as an administrator, I've lived through Columbine, 9/11, a number of different tragedies that have happened that do impact our communities emotionally. But when you see the video footage of SWAT teams on roofs and see the horrific images that are presented in the media, it does have an emotional toll on me as the person responsible for the overall safety of our students. These are the things that keep me up at night. These are the things that make me lose sleep, not only because my own 2 children attend school here, but I treat every student like they're my own children.
After a weekend contemplating his district's security plan, Pritchard remains confident that students and staff are in a safe place.
The best resource that we have right now are our professional staff and their best instincts. I know that we've practiced, in the past, we've practiced emergency drills and crisis response drills to include lockdowns. Yesterday, upon returning to school, I didn't feel as if it was the best time to run a drill, knowing that people may have been fragile. I think the Monday after that Friday, really was a day for hugs, was really a day to address the emotional considerations of our staff. But while we were doing that, concurrently, several of the administrators were continuing to finalize our crisis and emergency response plans through our BOCES, Regional Safety Office. Again, this is a regional effort because our first responders tend to be county sheriff's department as well as our New York State Police. We were also developing these plans in light of the fact that we've made a number of significant changes to our physical plant here, the physical school itself.
As part of the district's ongoing capital project, all 5 school buildings will have safety features included.
Specifically, we've changed out all the door hardware at the high school right now and the elementary schools as well in the initial phases of the project. And we've restricted access to the building to channel it through an entrance in the rear of the high school, which is supervised by over 90 security cameras by, again, our off-duty policemen. We have not yet made those changes at the middle school. There's still work to be done, but we are currently addressing those needs now as we are involved in the middle school upgrades to include, again, changing of all door hardware. And in all schools in the building, in the district, will include the door buzzers, where we will be able to identify someone who needs, whether or not they indeed need to be in the building or not.
While the district continues to take steps to increase security, Pritchard also has a message for students and other members of the community.
Probably the most common scenarios is the threat that could potentially occur from within. And the phrase that I want students and staff and all members in this community, regardless of whether they attend school or not here, is to be situationally aware, to be aware of the space around you. And I'm not saying that you have to live in constant fear, but that awareness, as you say, can save your life. It certainly is a concept that I'm familiar with from my tour of duty in Afghanistan 10 years ago. And being situationally aware I believe, allowed me and my men to return home safely because we didn't take anything for granted, that we never let our guards down. And some of the same emotions and some of the same sensitivity that I had when I was in a war zone have all come back to me. So never let your guard down, and never be afraid to go to somebody who you can trust. Every student in this building should have a person whom they consider a safe person.
Pritchard said he is also hopeful the community will understand that restrictions in place regarding building access, while inconvenient at times, ultimately keeps children more safe.
I know that I've gotten phone calls over time where parents have called and they've been upset, particularly at the elementary school level, where they were not allowed to randomly walk the halls or take their children in classes. So I would just ask for people's patience. That I'm hopeful that people will be respectful of whatever safety protocols that we do put in place, that these are not meant to punish people or designed to make people's lives difficult, but I think that there are certain inconveniences that have to be considered. We certainly, people don't have a problem taking their shoes off in the airport to go through a metal detector, but some of the practices that may have been acceptable in the past were I just don't want folks to feel like they've been alienated or they've been, that we don't want people connected to the school.
Pritchard said he recognizes that the community at large will also play a role in keeping children more safe.
As I said yesterday, Monday was more hugs than it wasn't a time for planning. It wasn't a time necessarily even for action. It was a time to make sure to look to your left and to look to your right and make sure that the person standing next to you was okay, that they were in a position where they could be stable and could continue on with their work. But I think now that we know what the risks are, the potential risks are, please, if you have any suspicions of any sort of vulnerability or risk to our students or to our school community, people have to know that they can pick up the phone and call me.